The shuttle's descent rattled my seat as we entered the atmosphere of Nereth 9, a world so green and silver it looked like someone had poured liquid emerald over polished steel. I pressed my forehead against the viewport, watching forests shimmer like waves and cities rise like glass mountains. The sky had two suns, one pale gold, the other deep blue. Their overlapping light made everything surreal, as if the planet itself couldn't decide between day and dream. After a 20-year journey in cryosleep, I had finally arrived. "Welcome to Nereth 9, Mr. Ethan Cole," the onboard AI said in its smooth voice. "You have been assigned temporary residence in Sector 4 of the Terran Settlement Dome. Your domestic assistant will meet you upon arrival." A domestic assistant. I thought it meant a robot, some polite serval droid that would sweep floors and cook food. I had no idea what they truly meant. Arrival. When I stepped out into the settlement dome, the air hit me like silk, slightly humid, carrying a faint floral scent. The dome above shimmered faintly, refracting the twin sunlight into a constant pastel glow. There were humans everywhere, all dressed in lightweight polymer suits, smiling like they'd found paradise. I checked my datapad. Residence 4A, assigned caretaker Lyra. Before I could even ask for directions, a voice spoke behind me. "You're Ethan Cole." It wasn't a question. It was a statement. When I turned, I nearly stumbled. The woman, or rather the alien, standing before me was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Her skin was pale lavender, smooth like glass, and her eyes. They had no pupils, just shifting silver irises that rippled faintly as if reflecting my thoughts. Her hair, or tendrils that looked like hair, shimmered between white and blue. She wore a dark uniform trimmed with silver patterns that pulsed faintly with her heartbeat. "I'm Lyra," she said. "Your assigned caretaker." Her voice wasn't exactly spoken. It vibrated, both in my ears and in my head. A strange dual sensation, as if she existed in sound and thought at once. Hi," I said awkwardly. "You work for the colony." Her lips curved into what I assumed was a smile. "I work with the colony. And now with you." The alien Maid. The residence was spacious. Far more than I expected. A panoramic window overlooked a field of bioluminescent grass that glowed faintly at dusk. The furniture adjusted itself to my posture. The walls shifted color depending on my mood. It was like living inside a breathing organism. Lyra walked silently beside me, moving with liquid grace. I caught her glancing at me several times, her eyes flashing with strange patterns, like reading invisible text. "You're thinking this place is too much," she said suddenly. Froze. "What did you just?" "I can hear your surface thoughts," she replied calmly. "It's part of my biology. My kind, the Velari, communicate telepathically. I try to limit it with humans, but..." She tilted her head slightly, her gaze softening. "You think loudly." "Well, that's invasive," I muttered. "Only if you hide something worth invading," she said. That remark unsettled me. I didn't reply. Days of adjustment. The first few days were uneventful, or as uneventful as life on a new planet could be. I worked remotely as part of a research team cataloging Nereth 9's unique microbial life. Lyra managed the rest. Cleaning, food synthesis, and maintaining the home's adaptive systems. But there was something about her presence that made the air in the room aware. When I thought about something like needing water or wanting light dimmed, it happened almost instantly. At first, I assumed the house AI was intuitive. Then I realized it was her. She didn't ask. She just knew. Once, while working late, I muttered in frustration, "I wish I understood this data." Lyra appeared silently behind me, her voice echoing faintly in my mind. You're mapping protein strands backwards. I stared at the holographic display. She was right. How did you? I saw the sequence in your mind, she said. It's easier to understand when I see it as you do. Her ability was unnerving but also strangely helpful. Over time, her interference began to feel like assistance, like having a second consciousness aligned with mine. Still, I couldn't shake the thought. What else does she see? Dreams and secrets. The nightmares started on the 7th day. In my dream, I was floating through an ocean of glass, the surface rippling with faint whispers. Faces, not human, appeared in the reflection, staring, accusing. A chorus of thoughts flooded my mind. You left us. You forgot. I woke drenched in sweat. Lyra was standing by the doorway, her expression unreadable. You were calling out, she said softly. Were you watching me sleep? I felt your fear. It pulled at me. I rubbed my face. Great. So now my emotions are your problem too. Her voice tightened, barely perceptible. When you dream loudly, it's everyone's problem. Something in her tone made me pause. There was emotion, restrained, heavy, almost guilt. I tried to joke. Do you read everyone's dreams? Only yours, she said quietly. Because they don't sound like dreams. They sound like memories. That sentence cut deep. She was right, they were memories. Of Earth before I left. Of the people I couldn't save during the last climate collapse. I came to Nereth. 9 not for adventure, but to escape the wreckage of a dying planet, and my own failures. I hadn't told anyone that. How could she know? The revelation the next morning, I confronted her. You've been inside my head more than you admit, I accused. Lyra didn't deny it. She stood near the window, light catching on her translucent skin. When you dream, she said, you broadcast emotions so vivid I can't ignore them. Guilt, fear, loneliness. It's deafening. Then stop listening. I can't, she said softly. Because your thoughts connect to something else. Something old. Something Velari. That stopped me cold. What are you talking about? Lyra walked closer, her eyes glowing faintly. The Velari once had contact with Earth. Long before your history remembers. Some of your ancient myths, your gods and telepaths, they were fragments of us. When your people left Earth, some carried dormant markers in their DNA. You might be one of them. I laughed nervously. You're saying I'm part alien. I'm saying, she whispered, that your mind speaks the same language as mine. Her words sent a chill through me. And then for the first time I heard her voice without sound. Inside my thoughts, clear and intimate. Do you see now, Ethan? I stumbled back. Get out of my head. I'm not in it. You opened the door. The link after that day, things changed. I began to sense her before she entered a room. A faint hum in the air, a thought not my own. I started responding mentally without meaning to. It frightened me, yet part of me was drawn to it. The seamless exchange, the absence of misunderstanding. Words suddenly felt primitive. Late one night while working, she touched my shoulder. Instantly I saw flashes, memories not mine. Vast crystal cities under twin suns, a race of beings connected through thought, a moment of terrible silence when the network collapsed. I gasped and pulled away. What was that? Our extinction, she said. The Velari once shared a single mind. But when some broke away, seeking individuality, the link shattered. I'm one of the few who can still bridge that void. I stared at her. You think humans can help restore it? Her silver eyes softened. I think you can. Test weeks passed. My research shifted focus. The microbial life on Nereth. 9 exhibited faint electromagnetic patterns. similar to neural signals. Lyra believed they were fragments of the old Velari network, preserved in biology. Together we worked to decode them. The closer we got, the stronger our mental link became. I could feel her emotions: calm, curiosity, fear. Sometimes I couldn't tell where my thoughts ended and hers began. Then one day, during an experiment, the containment field overloaded. A pulse of light surged through the lab, knocking us both unconscious. When I awoke, I was no longer in the lab. I was standing in a vast, shimmering void. Millions of luminous threads stretched in every direction, pulsing like a living web. And beside me stood Lyra, or her projection, glowing brighter than ever. "This is the Nexus," her voice echoed. "The consciousness of Nerith 9. We did it," asked Odd. "You did it," she replied. "But now it must choose whether to wake, or remain dreaming." I felt the weight of her words. The Nexus wasn't just data, it was alive. If we awakened it, it might re-establish the Velari network. But it could also reshape the planet, perhaps even overwrite human minds in its path. "We can't risk it," I said. "Then you must seal it," she whispered. "And that means sealing me with it." "No," I said. "There has to be another way." "Ethan." Her voice trembled through thought, warm and sorrowful. "You were meant to be the bridge, not the keeper. Let me go." Her form began to dissolve into light. I reached for her, but my hand passed through. "I'll always hear you," she said softly. "In thought, not in words." The Nexus dimmed, folding into itself until only silence remained. Aftermath: when I woke again, I was back in the lab. Systems offline. Readings blank. Lyra was gone. The colony logs listed her as decommissioned. But I knew better. Somewhere beneath the planet's surface, in the pulse of its network, she was alive, integrated, watching. Days passed into weeks. The house felt hollow without her. Yet sometimes when I stood by the window at dusk, the bioluminescent fields outside shimmered in patterns that looked almost like handwriting. Once, the light spelled a single word: Ethan. I smiled faintly. "Still listening, huh?" And faintly, just faintly, I heard her laugh in my mind. Epilogue: it's been a year since I came to Nerith 9. Humanity still calls it a frontier world, but to me it's home, a living planet filled with memory and mind. I continue my research, now focused on human Velari connections. The colony believes Lyra was just an experimental AI, but I know she was real. Sometimes when I dream, I see her walking through silver fields, her thoughts intertwining with mine. She once told me that every mind leaves an echo, a vibration that never fades. If that's true, then maybe none of us are ever truly alone. And on nights when the twin suns set and the sky burns blue and gold, I swear I can still feel her there, inside my head, inside this world, whispering, "You finally stopped thinking so loudly."